Hello, this is Gilgamesh. I want to talk about, this is Elliot Abrams. Who is he? Well, um, he's quite the monster. He worked under, I'll read this article about Elliot Abrams. The reason he worked under Reagan. He worked for Trump, and now Biden wants him to work for him. So, yeah, let's read up on who this guy is. The totally indefensible Biden nominates death squad backer Elliot Abrams to diplomacy panel. Elliot Abrams, enemy of human rights, apologist for mass murder, should have no place within spitting distance of any Democratic administration in any capacity. President Joe Biden on Monday quietly nominated Elliot Abrams to serve on a bipartisan diplomacy commission, a move that human rights advocates condemned as outrageous, given the longtime Republican official's past as a defender of Latin American death squads and cheerleader for murderous U.S. foreign policy interventions. A totally indefensible decision from Biden, MSNBC's Heidi Hansen wrote on Twitter, pointing to Abrams' guilty plea stemming from the Reagan-era Iran-Contra scandal and his broader record in Latin America. Most recently, Abrams served as Trump's administration's special convoy to Iran and Venezuela during a 2019 House Affairs Committee hearing. Representative Ilhan Omar, a Democrat from Minnesota, grilled Abrams on his role in the Reagan administration's policy in El Salvador, whose U.S.-backed military carried out the largest massacre in modern Latin American history in '81, in and around the village of El Mozote. Omar noted during the 2019 hearing that Abrams later said that the U.S. policy in El Salvador was a fabulous achievement. After recounting the appalling details of El Mozote killings, in which around 140 children were murdered, Omar asked Abrams, "Do you think that massacre was a fabulous achievement that happened under our watch?" That is a ridiculous question, and I will not respond to it. Abrams fumed in response. I am not going to respond to that kind of personal attack, which is not a question. Actually, it is, and it wasn't a personal attack. Abrams attempted to downplay the El Mozote massacre shortly after it occurred, telling the U.S. Senate that news reports of the gruesome killings were not credible and were being misused by anti-government forces. In response to news of the Biden administration's decision to nominate Abrams to the State Department's Advisory Commission on Public Diplomacy, former longtime Human Rights Watch Executive Director Kenneth Roth wrote that Abrams' most notorious public diplomacy is downplaying the 1981 El Mozote massacre of 1,000 people by U.S. trained and equipped El Salvadorian military units. Raymond Bonner, a former New York Times correspondent in El Salvador, wrote for the Atlantic in 2019 that the Reagan administration, with Abrams as point man, routinely defended the El Salvadorian government in the face of evidence that its regular army and aligned right-wing death squads were operating with impunity, killing peasants, students, union leaders, and anyone considered anti-government or pro-guerrilla. Abrams went as far as to defend one of the death squad's most notorious leaders, Roberto de Abubucian, I think that's how you pronounce his last name, who was responsible for the murder of Archbishop Oscar Romero while he was saying Mass in March 1980, Bonner added. The Biden White House, predictably, failed to mention the sordid details of Abrams' record in its nomination announcement, offering a sterilized biography that lists off the notorious figure's previous government roles: Assistant Secretary of State for International Organization Affairs, Human Rights, that's a joke, and Latin American under Reagan. A senior director of National Security Council under George W. Bush, special representative for Iran, and special representative for Venezuela under Donald Trump, among others. According to its website, the Advisory Commission on Public Diplomacy is tasked with appraising U.S. government activities intended to understand, inform, and influence foreign publics, and to increase the understanding of and support for these same activities. Abrams must be confirmed by the Senate. Also, George Herbert Walker Bush had pardoned him after he was found guilty, after he had pled guilty twice to lying to the Senate. Yeah, Slate journalist Alex Salmon denounced Biden's nomination of Abrams for the position as obscene and unconscionable. Elliot Abrams, enemy of human rights, apologist for mass murder, should have no place within spitting distance of any Democratic administration in any capacity, Simmons argued. And so let's listen. Do you want to hear? Let's hear this, guys. Sorry, I won't be able to make the screen any bigger. It doesn't allow it to, go to full screen. So let's hear. This was the.
Ms. Omar.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for your testimonies. Mr. Adams, in 1991, you pleaded guilty to 2 counts of withholding information from Congress regarding your involvement in the Iran-Contra affair, for which you were later pardoned by President George H.W. Bush. I fail to understand why members of this committee or the American people should find any testimony that you give today to be truthful.
If I can respond to that.
It wasn't a question.
That
was not a question. I reserve the right to my time.
It is not right.
That was not a question.
Committee can attack.
On February.
That's not an. First of all, that's not an attack, asshole. That's making a statement of truth. That's not an attack, you dickless wonder. No wonder you're an evil piece of shit that's going to be in hell for the rest of your life. Somebody bringing up your record and questioning the committee why anybody want to have you anywhere near this government when you're a butcher who probably got off on watching the kids get murdered and everything. You're probably one of those sick motherfuckers who pleasures himself to children being murdered.
February
witness
8th,
who is not permitted to reply.
that was not a question. Thank you for your
Good point.
participation. On February 8th, 1982, you testified before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee about U.S. policy in El Salvador. In that hearing, you dismissed as communist propaganda report about the massacre of El Mozote, in which more than 800 civilians, including children as young as 2 years old, were brutally murdered by U.S. trained troops. During that massacre, some of those troops bragged about raping a 12-year-old girl before they killed them. Girls before they killed them. You later said that the U.S. policy in El Salvador was a fabulous achievement. Yes or no, do you still think so?
From the day that President Duarte was elected in a free election to this day.
Was not a free election. We rigged the election. This guy's as evil as they come. Whenever you hear anybody in this government, when we get involved in elections, we love to talk about, oh yeah, the 2016 that Russia tried to interfere in our election. Nobody does more fucking interference in elections than we do. This guy right here is proof that there's no such thing as a free election if we're involved. Especially this guy.
Okay. El Salvador has been a democracy.
Huh, that's not true. It's been under a dictatorship by a puppet government by America. Not now, but it has been in the past because of people like this.
It's a fabulous achievement.
Yes or no, do you think that massacre was a fabulous achievement that happened under our watch?
That is a ridiculous question, and I
yes or no?
No.
I will
Sorry,
take that as a yes.
I am not going to respond to that kind
He butchered children. Understand, this guy's a monster, and doesn't surprise me. Trump brings him in, people defend Trump. Trump brought this butcher, this guy who allowed death squads in El Salvador, Nicaragua, Honduras. We're talking Latin America. He might as well be the butcher of Latin America. But yeah, Trump brought him in. No wonder things went to shit in Venezuela. This guy likes to kill people.
of personal attack.
That's not an attack. That's not an attack. That's stating your record and asking you if you still stand by what you said back then. See, people like him have no souls. They don't. Because they're evil as shit.
Yes or no, would you support an armed faction within Venezuela that engages in war crimes, crimes against humanity or genocide, if you believe they were serving U.S. interests, as you did in Guatemala, El Salvador, and Nicaragua?
I am not going to respond to that question. I'm sorry. I don't think this entire line of questioning is meant to be real questions, and so I will not respond.
You know why he's saying that? He's giving it away. He does still agree with doing that stuff. Yes. The fact that he won't even answer it tells you what an evil... This guy, guaranteed, he helped sex traffic children. Yes, I believe this man was involved in the child sex trafficking business for our government. That's why we put dictators in puppet governments so we can sex traffic the children.
Whether under your watch, a genocide will take place,
yes,
and you will look the other way because American interests were being upheld,
yep,
is a fair question. Because the American people want to know that anytime we engage a country, that we think about what our actions could be and how we believe our values are being furthered. That is my question. Will you make sure that human rights are not violated and that we uphold international and human rights?
Of course he won't. Look at his record, speaks that he won't. But yeah, like she said, George Herbert Walker Bush pardoned this guy after he had lied to the Senate. Yeah, he was convicted of lying twice. And to Congress, he lied to the Senate. This guy, and you saw the defense that he got about simply answering a question about his record in El Salvador when it came to the death squads. And he really, the reason he doesn't want to answer it, because he thinks it's a good idea that they killed all these women, children, you know. So yeah, Elliot Abrams is as evil as they come. He might as well be, you know, say one of Lucifer's kids, a demon from hell. So I wanted to talk about this monster. I'll talk to you later. Bye.